Someone asks, how can they think less and feel more? And something that's very practical is to be aware of the body. Typically, when we're caught up in the thinking process, all we know is the thoughts. It's as if there's exclusive attention on the thoughts, meaning that there are only thoughts and you are excluding everything else. We're so focused on the thoughts. It's like a camera lens, zoomed in, focused on just the thoughts. So it's magnifying these thoughts. And it's zoomed in on the thoughts that it's blocking out everything else. So when we're so overwhelmed by thinking, caught up in the thinking, that's all we know. And it feels really like we're entangled in it. It feels so tight, restricted, limited, active, stressful. Something that's very practical is to shift the attention onto the body. As soon as you shift the attention to the body, you'll start noticing that there's this relaxation happening, that there's this widening of attention, this opening of attention. It doesn't feel so exclusive. See, even when you're so focused on your thoughts, you're actually excluding the experience of your body. Not entirely, but for a good chunk, you're excluding your body. When you're walking and you're thinking about what happened earlier on in the day, you're worried about what might happen later in the day. These are just thoughts of the past and the future. The past and the future are no more than thoughts. And your attention is exclusively attending these thoughts. You're so focused on the thoughts that you're magnifying them. If you're thinking about problems, you're magnifying the problems. And like this, you can be walking, thinking about your problems, and totally be unaware of the texture of the ground underneath your feet, the warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of the leaves rustling in the wind, the smell of flowers. You could totally be ignoring all of this. But what you'll find is, if you could go for the same walk and put the attention on the body, the soles of your feet, the bending of your ankles, the bending of your knees, pushing of the hips, swaying of the shoulders, swinging of the arms, rotating of the spine. If you can attend the body and be aware of all of those sensations, then you start noticing that you're more relaxed. There's 50% less thinking. At least, the more the attention is on the body like that, very detailed. It's not like you're thinking about your ankles bending. You're just simply aware that your ankles are bending. You're aware of your hips. You're aware of more pressure on this area of your foot than the other. You're aware of your spine rotating as you're walking. Just simply putting that attention on the body. You'll be feeling the body so much that it's as if there's no room for thinking. You're so full of feeling that it's like you're not thinking. So by just simply dropping into the body more, we can say, and feeling the body, being aware of the feeling of the body, it seems to, if it feels like this, that it takes you out of the mind. And it takes you out of that thinking. You're more relaxed when you're feeling the body. You're more spacious when you're feeling the body. You're more open when you're feeling the body. So now you're out of the thinking mind and into the feeling body. And the feeling is effortless. You just start feeling what's here. Now, to go one step further is by putting the attention on the five senses. The sounds, the smells, the sight. When you're walking, being aware of the sounds, not thinking about the sounds, being aware of the sounds. There's just the noticing of the leaves. There's just the sound of the dog barking. There's just the sound of someone cutting their grass. There's just noticing. There's just the awareness of those sounds. There's just the awareness of what you're seeing. Not thinking about what you're seeing. Just simply being aware of the trees that you're seeing as you walk. Being aware of the shadows on the ground casted by the trees. Being aware of the clouds. Being aware of the smell of fresh cut grass, the smell of certain flowers or pollen or someone's barbecuing, just the smell. Being aware of the sensations, just like I said about the body, the sensations, the movement of the body, but also the sensation of the wind blowing through your hair, the sun warmth on your face, And what you'll notice is you feel even more spacious and open and expansive. You feel even more relaxed. So it's as if we have gone from this exclusive thinking, being so limited to thoughts, where it's so small thoughts, but we're magnifying them. It's like we're exclusively just focused on the thought. It's like looking at a thought underneath a magnifying glass. You've magnified it, and that's all you're concerned about. So you're blocking out everything else. You got the magnifying glass, focused just on the thought, excluding everything else. And then we basically say, oh, wait, what about the body? What about the sensations of the body? Now you start including the sensation of the body. You notice that as you include the sensation of the body, well, there's less thinking. It's not exclusive thinking anymore because there's the sensations now that you're being aware of. The soles of the feet, bending of the ankles, bending of the knees, propelling of the hips, swinging of the arms, rotating of the spine. That was all excluded before when you were solely focusing on the thoughts. So you see that it feels like you can't how do you say this? You can't get caught up in those thoughts. Now that you are aware of the body, doesn't mean that you're never going to have a thought, but you're also aware of the sensations of the body. There's thoughts and there's the sensation of the body, but it's not exclusively thoughts. So there's this including more. You are excluding the body, now you're including the body. You're including the sensations of the body. Then we go even further than that. Well, now we're including not just the sense of touch, but the sense of sound, sight, taste, and smell. Some refer to the sixth sense as the thinking mind, thought. And it's as if we're exclusively attending this one sense, and we're excluding the 5 other senses. So like this, by including these 5 senses, all of this energy can't go towards thinking. It's like it's partitioned, redistributed, shared. So now it's all inclusive. It's including all 6. And it's just simply being aware of the sights, the sounds, the smells, the taste, the touch. It's not thinking about it. That's again where that thinking mind comes in and wants to narrate everything that you're aware of. It wants to kind of hijack and be the star. If you see it as there's these six senses, and thinking's one, smelling, tasting, touching, seeing, go on. You've got these six. There's one that wants all of the attention. There's one that wants all of the attention, the thinking. And it's like it's greedy. It's hogging all the attention. Right? It wants all the attention exclusively on it. But now by like sharing the attention, all right, well, okay. There's thinking, yes, but there's also there's seeing, and there's smelling, and there's tasting, and there's touching. There's hearing. So there's then these other senses that you can give your attention to. And like that attention is redistributed. It's not 100% going to just the thinking. That which was always stealing the show, greedy for attention, is no more. And the experience is more full, more complete, more total. You start seeing that you're missing out a lot of things. You're missing out on the texture of the ground underneath your feet. You're missing out on how the body is actually moving. You're missing out on the smells, the sounds. You're missing out on so much because this thinking mind was hogging all the attention. And the experience of this is when all of the attention is going just on the thinking, it's so limited and restricted, closed, narrowed. So narrowed, it acts very much like a camera lens. It's narrowed, it's closing down, and it's blocking out everything else. But when you open that aperture and you're wide open, when you zoom out, oh, there's more here. It's as if you start seeing the big picture. It's more of this holistic experience. It's this experience that is all inclusive. This awareness that you are is embracing everything. But by giving so much importance, so much significance, so much interest to the thoughts, then it's like it hogs all the attention. And that's all you experience. And if you check your thoughts, most of your thoughts are problematic thoughts. So therefore, you're experiencing problems. These thoughts are judgmental. But by just simply being aware of the other senses, this thinking mind that's constantly judging, it becomes quieter. It's decreased. That judgment's not there as much. But even when it is there, you notice it. That you're just simply this awareness that's not judging the experience of sounds or sights or tastes or touch or smell. The awareness isn't even judging the thoughts. It's not judging anything. It allows everything to be. It accepts everything as it is. It embraces everything totally. So, like this can be a little practice to help you experience more than just thoughts. It's like you can have two people walking, and one person is basically just thinking about all their problems and worrying about everything that may happen later, could happen later on this walk through the park. And that's all they're attending. That's all they're interested in is their own problems and what they're running from and what they're running to and all of that. And the other person is aware of the sounds and the smells and the sights, sensations. And they're not thinking about problems. For the majority of the walk, they're not even thinking. Sure, there's some thoughts that are coming here and there, but for the majority of the walk, they're so aware of these senses. They're just enjoying the raw senses. There's just an experiencing of the other senses. The same activity is experienced totally different. There's a whole different quality to it. That one has blocked out everything. If you were to ask the first person if they noticed how it looks like the shadows are dancing on the ground because of how the how the leaves are moving in the wind and the sun is peeking through and it looks like there's a play of shadows on the ground, they would know nothing of that. If you asked that person if they could smell the fresh cut grass or the lavender or someone having the barbecue, it's like they would have to scratch their head and go, no, like, no, when, where? If you ask that person if they could feel their feet on the ground, if they were aware of their feet on the ground, It's like they can't tell you, they can't report any of that information. It's as if they weren't experiencing it. But here they are, two people walking the same path through the park, 5-minute walk. And it's like, what were they? What was person number one experiencing then? Person number two was experiencing that whole experience. It was so full, it was so rich. So complete. Where you ask person number one about any of these things that were to be experienced, that could be experienced, and it's like as if they're scratching their head saying, well, maybe let's walk again. Let's try that again. That walk was missing all of that. Something's missing. You're asking me about all these things that it's like I can't account for them. Now, because I wasn't experiencing everything that you're asking about, it's like I want to experience it again. Give me a second chance. I was missing all of that. You ask person number two if it was missing something, and it's not missing anything. Was the walk in the park, were you satisfied with it? Yes. Do you feel the need to repeat it? No, there's no need. It was total. So it's like the two people, same experience, but different in the sense of the quality of that experience. It's like they're experiencing two different things, yet it looks like there's two people that are walking the park. And person number one is experiencing a lot of worry or anxiety or stress or conflict or fear because the attention is exclusively on the thoughts. Whereas person number two, they're not exclusively attending the thoughts. They're attending the 5 other senses. Now we can go one step further and going beyond the senses to that which is aware of the senses. What is aware of the thinking, the sight, the seeing, the smelling, the tasting, the touching, the hearing? And experiencing that which is aware of everything. It's an even more expansive experience, total experience. You're no longer feeling like you're just this body on the path walking, who's getting hit by some wind, who's hearing the sound to the right of someone cutting the grass, who's smelling the barbecue from the left, who's feeling the warmth on the front of the face. No, this experience is that you're everything, that it's immediate. There's no separation. There's no distance. It's intimate. It's the most intimate. That you are the wind. You are the warmth. You are the clouds. You are the movement of walking. Everything's happening. And you're not separate from it. That it's all you. There's no separate experiences like this experience of what's that sound and this experience of what's that feeling and this experience of what's that smell, this experience of what that sight is. It's just seamless experiencing, which is an impersonal experiencing. There's no person that's experiencing, it's impersonal. That there's no separation where you're saying that this is an experiencer and that's an experience. That everything is one. It's you. So it's total. It's whole. It's indivisible. It's complete. It's full. And you are experiencing yourself. It's experiencing itself. And what is experiencing? Well, it's undeniable. It's you. So it's the formless being expressed as form. The forms are an appearance. It's an activity of the formless. The formless is in the forms, and the forms are in the formless. It's inseparable. This emptiness is fullness. It's empty of a person as a separate entity. Well, it's empty of that. And what is it full of? Well, everything else. It's everything. So giving you like the full, walking you back from the full, or from the most limited, being exclusively identified with the thoughts. And we can see that just become aware of the body. Give that a shot. See what that feels like. Just becoming aware of the body. You're cooking dinner, just be aware of the body. Driving your car, just be aware of the body. Working on your computer, just being aware of the body. Just start being aware of the body sensations. As I'm speaking, I'm fully aware of how my feet are resting together. I'm fully aware of the pressure of my butt in the chair and my back against the backrest. Fully aware of the jaw moving, the hands moving. Just being aware of the body. I'm also aware of this kind of cricket sound, aware of a fan. So you start to feel this limitation start becoming more and more and more unlimited. It's being less limited, more wide, more open, more expansive. You're starting to experience that it's, oh yeah, a little more full, a little more full, a little bit more full. It's embracing more and more and more. To the point where you're simultaneously no thing and everything. That what you are is all inclusive, doesn't exclude anything. It's embracing everything as itself. That all of this is a manifestation of yourself. So it's embracing it totally. So hopefully this helps. I'll see you in the next one.